Welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast.
Here's a sneak peek into what we're going to cover in this week's episode of the Echo Tips Podcast.
Okay, I'll remind you in 8 seconds.
Okay. Now, like I said, it would typically go off just here, but we're going to hear that that is not the case. Here we go.
David, here is your reminder. Take the red pill. David, here is your reminder.
There you go.
Take the red pill.
Hello. Welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast. As you could tell from our prelude today, we're going to be delving back into an oldie but a goodie, and that is reminders. We're going to be taking a look at reminders. We just recently took a look at timers, if you didn't hear a previous episode, and a new feature that I was unacquainted with. And this is of a similar category, the ability to get not a timer, but a reminder on all your Echo devices, no matter where you may be at any particular moment in the home. And we're going to review some of the high-level things connected with reminders as well. And because we've covered reminders in a number of episodes, we've talked about follow-up mode, and we've talked about repeating reminders. We've talked about just a wide variety of reminder features. And we'll do a high-level gloss over of that today as well. But we're going to talk about this new feature that I kind of stumbled across by accident that allows me to have that reminder just not go off on one device, but across multiple devices. And considering, I'm upstairs, I'm downstairs, I'm in the basement, I'm at a different end of the house, I can continue to hear or get that important reminder. So first off, I'd like to, before we delve into that, I'd like to welcome our new listeners. Welcome, listeners, to the Echo Tips Podcast. I'm the host, David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, based here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Southwest Virginia in the city of Roanoke. So it's good to have you all with us today. And for our returning listeners, it's good to have you guys back as well. So before we delve into reminders and this new feature that I discovered, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we will be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Well, hello again. Welcome back to the podcast. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be taking a delve into reminders again. That is right, reminders. And we have covered this in a number of episodes, a variety of features connected with reminders. So, first off, we will be doing a demo here in a little bit, and so if you do have an echo in hearing distance of my voice and you don't want me to be tripping your echo at home up and setting reminders on your echo at home, you may want to shut its ears off, and you can always pause the podcast and come back. So I'll just give you all a second to do that. While you're doing that, I'm going to give you a real quick rundown of how many times we've covered reminders in this podcast and various features as they have been added. So, going all the way back, episode 3 and 4, we covered reminders. Now, back in the early days, calendar function was very limited on the Echo. You couldn't get scheduled appointments to announce themselves or alerts or anything. So reminders were really the backbone, historically, of getting alerts attached with labels, like take the blue pill, take the red pill, don't forget it's trash day, all those sort of things. Reminders have been the backbone of the Amazon Echo's feature set for this kind of stuff. So going all the way back, and you can always ask your Echo while you're listening to the podcast, you can say, hey lady, play episode 3 or 4. And she'll jump back and listen to these. You can also check them out on my personal blog. I have links to them at certdoctor.com. And you click on my blog, you should have a list of all these as well. So I'm going to rattle off some of these episodes in case you want to go back and look at these. We will kind of probably generically cover this stuff today, so you may find what you need there. But in episode 3, going all the way back to the Pringle can, by golly, we covered the basic one-time reminders. Episode 4, we covered repeating reminders, so that's like every Tuesday, take out the trash, or every weekday or every weekend. That's repeating reminders, episode 4. Jumping forward to episode 44, we talked about location-based reminders. Once that feature was added, that's the ability to get a reminder based on where you're at, like you arrive at work, or you arrive at home, or you leave work, or whatever. You can get a reminder based on your geolocation that's appropriate. Episode 64, we talked about postponing or rescheduling reminders. In episode 191, we talked about getting reminders via text message. So that's kind of cool. In episode 222, we talked about, so even if you're not at home, you can get that reminder. Episode 222, we talk about this new feature called follow-up mode on reminders. So that's the ability to continue to get pestered throughout the day. And in episode 238, we discovered another level of that, not just maybe getting reminded on an hourly basis, but every day. So it was pay your water bill the first of every month. You could get a follow-up reminder every day until you acknowledge that. So a daily follow-up mode. So really, that's we've covered a number of things connected with reminders over time. And so today is a new one that I discovered by accident looking into the app. But before I show you where that is in the app, we'll do a demonstration. Whoa. So like I said, hopefully you all have had a chance to mute its ears. And so we're going to do that right now. I'm here in my home office studio. I'm going to set the reminder, and then we'll see how this setting manifests itself. Because typically, in a default configuration, that reminder would only go off on this one Echo. But we're going to see that's not the case. So let's do it. Alexa, create a reminder, take the red pill.
When should I remind you?
8 seconds.
Okay, I'll remind you in 8 seconds.
Okay. Now, like I said, it would typically go off just here, but we're going to hear that that is not the case. Here we go.
David, here is your reminder. Take the red pill. David, here is your reminder.
There you go.
Take the red pill.
All right, so as you could tell, there was a little bit of an echo effect here, and that's because I have my office studio door open. And so you're hearing the echoes in the kitchen and in the living room also go off with that same reminder. So a really cool setting that I didn't know was in there now. So it's a little different than the timers function. So let me drill into that. First, let me direct you to how you can find that in your A-Lady app. So you need to get out your smartphone or tablet where you have your A-Lady app installed. And you're going to open up the A-Lady app. And you're going to tap on the More button in the bottom right corner. It's got kind of like 3 different lines on it, I do believe. That's going to slide out your menu, and you're going to then tap on Settings. Now, on the next page that opens up, these are generically probably global level settings that apply to any Echoes on your account, although there's probably some nuances there. You're going to scroll down about 2 or 3 pages down to Reminders, and you're going to tap on Reminders. So this is very similar to the way we went and found this new timer setting we talked about in a previous episode. Okay, so you're going to tap on Reminders. Now let's start at the very, let me highlight the new thing for you guys, and then we'll work our way through these again. So just in case you want to know about the new thing, which is probably the case, because that's probably what you want to know about. So about halfway to 3/4 of the way down the page, you're going to find our new setting, which is audio groups that this is announced on. Now you can tap, or where it's announced on, you can tap on that and it'll slide up a menu where it has the default setting, which is only on the device you set the reminder on. That's the default configuration. Now you can leave it that way, and in fact I may be going back to something like that here in the future because I kind of found this annoying the way it's currently configured, but I'll highlight why I found it annoying here in a bit. So you could leave it set that way and still have the other settings where you get an announcement or a text message or an announcement on your phone if you're not at the house, like if you're at the grocery store. So you can just continue to do it that way if you'd like, but your other options are to select a music group that you've set up. So I had in my phone Party Time group that I created as an audio group. Now, audio group means where I could play Pandora or Spotify or Amazon Music, and I could say, hey, play rock and roll on Party Time group, and it'll play on all the echoes that are designated in the Party Time group. In my Party Time group, I've set up the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, and the home office. So those are my core echoes across this floor of the house. So those would all go play that music. Now in this case, the reminder will go off on all of those echoes that if I designate Party Time group. Now they have another one there. It says everywhere, or I think everything everywhere. Now I don't know. Historically, the everywhere group in audio groups is limited to echoes that are in physical proximity to them at one location because they use Bluetooth to synchronize the music. Now, whether the reminders feature is making use of that in a similar vein, I don't know. I will have to conduct an experiment later. I'm thinking probably so, but some of the language in here is willy-nilly because it uses the phrase announce reminders as well. And when you use the phrase announce, if you think of announcements, that is usually across echoes that could be at different geographical locations, like my echo at my workplace is set on my personal account or other places. If I give an announcement, it will go off everywhere, including the work location. But the way audio groups usually work, which is what that's using here, are usually geographically limited to one location. So it may be that is the case. I don't know. I'll have to conduct an experiment here in the future. So those are the new features, and you could create new audio groups, which would be my recommendation. Okay, I'll get to my annoyance factor now with this new feature. So I thought I would really enjoy this, but it really kind of is a pestering because whenever the reminder goes off, I hear this barrage of echoes across the entire house all going off at the same time, and I really kind of found it fundamentally a little annoying. So I don't think I would enjoy this using the Everywhere group, or in my case, the Party Time group, which made sense because I was, for music and stuff, I might enjoy that, but for reminders, not so much. But this would be my suggestion. And let me give you a practical suggestion. Let's say you're basically in a 2-story house with a basement. So you have 3 different levels: the basement, the ground level, and then you have the second story, right? The upstairs. What I would say is create a Party Time or create a audio group that has one echo probably from every floor. So no matter where you are, basement, upstairs, you're at the ground floor with the kitchen or whatever, you have one echo that you'll probably hear no matter what floor you're on. Create a house group, whatever you want to call it, Dave's house or whatever, your house. Create that as an audio group. And then use that one as your group that you're going to have for the reminder features of Chirp. That way, if you're in the basement or you're upstairs, you'll get your reminder, but you're not getting this cacophony of every echo in every other room going off. I mean, unless it's something really critical, like you're trying to do a medication reminder, like I said. But I would find it annoying, but having one go off on each floor, I find it kind of nice, and I still would get that. And then you can layer that on with other features like the text message reminder, or the announcement on your A-Lady app on your phone or tablet. And in case you're not in the house, you're out mowing the grass, you're out at the grocery store, you still get your reminder. You could use that as well. Okay, so that would be my suggestion. So let's just go through a high-level gloss of these. Again, although we've covered this, So if you start back in the app at the tippy top, you do have this thing, and this kind of threw me off at first, this volume feature for alerts. I was like, are they allowing a global level? And no, they don't. If you tap on it, it actually allows you to look at every echo on your account and what the alarm volume is set to on each echo. So there is no global setting. They're each still individualized, but it is an interesting interface if you want to go in there and look at what the alarm. Now you can verbally on each echo change the alarm volume. Just say, "Hey lady, change alarm volume." So that's kind of interesting. So I don't think it's really useful to our discussion here, but it is in there. So if we go back to the Hey Lady app here in reminder settings, going down from the top, you'll have the ability to get these reminders announced as an alert on your phone, a notification on your phone or tablet, if you have the Hey Lady app set up there. So that's an option. I didn't always like that option because it's kind of a generic notification ding on my phone, like I get a million times a day. I use the text message option because I could actually custom set up a text jingle on my phone that I know is completely connected to the Hey Lady reminders, a special type of jingle, text messages, and that made it a little more nuanced for me, I think. So that's what I did. But that's an option there too, text messages. You continue to go down the page. We have the audio groups we've talked about, where it goes off in your house. And then further down, you have the nature of how many times it goes off. You could select that and you go like 2 times, 3 times. There's even a section there that says goes off for an hour straight until you say to stop. So that's an option. You really want to get that sucker, you can do that. Further down the page, if we go back, you have follow-up mode, which you could turn on as the default. It's always on. I don't know if I would recommend that, because follow-up mode, just to give you guys a reminder, if I had not acknowledged this timer that would this reminder that just went off, it would pause and wait an hour and then go off again and say, hey, did you take your red pill? Ding, ding, ding. And then we wait another hour until I said, I'm done, stop, right? Until I did that, it would go off every hour for the rest of the day, pretty much, until I did that. So, and if it applies to days, like say I want to set a repeating reminder for the first of every month, it will go off on a daily reminder as a follow-up mode. So, like pay the water bill on the first of every month. If I don't acknowledge it on that first day, it will go off the following days, each day at around the same time. So that's basically it. There's also this like smart feature down there near the bottom that you can toggle on or off. I leave it on because it's kind of curious, where it kind of interpolates based on the reminder that you're saying, maybe the phrase, maybe it's medication, maybe it's pay the bill or something. And it says, that sounds kind of important. And it could come back and say, hey, Dave, that medication reminder sounds kind of familiar. Would like me to set up follow-up mode to make sure you do that? And you can say yes or no. So I leave that on just as kind of a curiosity to see if it works pretty well or not. And it's kind of cool. It comes back every once in a while and will say, hey, that sounded like an important reminder. Do you want a follow-up mode on that? And sometimes I do. So I leave that setting on. So that's basically a high-level view of our options and reminders. And you may find that new speaker group option or the ability to set it kind of cool. I definitely think it gives you a lot of versatility. And I think with me, in my particular case, because the way my apartment's laid out, I'm kind of like a one level here. I might set a sound group that's at one end of the apartment and one at the other end of the apartment. And that way I don't have a cacophony of all of them going off, but maybe just those 2. So anyway, for my personal usage. Well, anyway, that will bring this episode to a close. I hope you found that informative, and I will tell you something exciting. Amazon has some announcements for us probably this week, and so I'll be likely covering some of those in our future episodes. Here's hoping we have some new software or some new hardware. Could be very exciting, people. So anyway, I'm looking forward to sharing that with you here. Hopefully we'll have some really cool announcements. But if you have thoughts or suggestions for a future episode, we would love to hear your feedback. You can reach out to Goodwill Industries of the Valleys on Facebook or Twitter, maybe now called X, and you can reach out to us. Just look up Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. You can also email us at info@goodwillvalleys.com. And just put in the subject line there something about New Vision or Echo Tips podcast. You're trying to reach Dave, and that will find its way to me. Well, until next time, it's time to turn the ears back on your Echo. Start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem, ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.